All right, Staley Brandon, my man. Good Sunday afternoon to you.
That's a nice shirt you got there.
Oh, he just got. We just. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, my man. Staley in the building. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Tony Shaver, see him on the page. Yep.
Yep. Speaking of that, are you on the Facebook page? Have you gotten into the Facebook? Good.
Yep.
Good.
The bankers were in there.
I was thinking I was gonna go live on the Facebook page at the same time, but we'll get to that later.
All right.
Tony, my man. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Tony, where are you? Tony, where are you located?
I am in Maryland.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Very nice.
And good afternoon to Marcus and Rodney Garner. Rodney, welcome back. I think you were on last Thursday as well, or this past Thursday. We didn't hear from you, but you were on the whole time. So I think you were out there. Am I thinking right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
hey,
welcome.
Awesome.
Were you here the other day as well? We didn't get any questions from you specifically, but that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
cool.
Very good.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you, man.
Welcome back. Okay.
Marion.
Marion?
This afternoon.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, we are well.
Doing well.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody, let me know. Go ahead and use the chat once. I know some of you are on your phones and it takes like an extra step. We're on laptops, so it's not as difficult sometimes. Go ahead and put something in the chat. Let us know where you're zooming in from this afternoon. That's the easiest thing. Where you're zooming in from. We're in our headquarters here, upstate South Carolina, which is the northwest corner in Greenville. And we are going to get into, we've got a new coach to introduce to the AMAs, the Ask Me Anythings. And these are normally hour-long sessions where we get into helping you guys understand that we're going to relate to you wherever you are in the process with Q&A from our perspectives, because we also do the process. Right. Infinite banking is a process. And so we want to help you understand, hey, ask us anything. We're going to normally have a jump off talking point or two that we can go into if everybody's understanding everything. And Keith's got that today. He's in charge. But this is Keith Carter. I'll give you a little bit of background on him. Well, I might even ask you to go ahead and be a participant in the Zoom. And then I will just make you a host. And then you could bring it up.
Okay.
Why don't we do that? So if you can find it. Yeah. So I'll introduce Keith. He is soon to be new dad here. Married for 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay, that was a guess, but I got it.
Good guess.
Very good. And he and his lovely little wife live in the upstate, but about, I don't know, about 45 minutes here, 30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Okay.
30, 40 minutes, yeah.
And he is an engineer by trade. He knows engineering, knows logistics and technical transport stuff and stuff. I don't know.
Operations and process.
And process. Okay. I don't even need this. We're not using these today.
Okay.
So Keith is he's a man of technical talents that are worth something in the marketplace. I'm not worth anything in the marketplace, so I just talk to you guys, but this man actually has a job. And he's been practicing infinite banking for 7 years. Yeah. Did you get your first policy in 2017?
2017 or
2017? 2016? I got mine in 2016.
So it was probably next year?
Maybe 1 year off of that?
Yeah. Okay, so I need to make sure.
Did you ever register?
I just registered just now.
Okay. And
so
okay, cool.
Do I need to mute?
Yes, please. You mute on your end. We'll just use one audio, but if you can share slides, then you can take over the screen. Okay. And he a background. Also a background in college sports. The football season has begun. And what's up with Dion out there? Coach Prime getting that win in.
I've been excited to watch it. So another fun fact, my dad and Deion Sanders were freshmen together at FSU.
That's right. That's right. I did know that.
They played in a high school all-star game in high school. And all like the FSU guys got together and hung out and whatnot. So we've got lots of stories.
Okay. So what did your dad? What was his position?
So he was the middle linebacker coming in that class.
Yeah.
So he played for Bobby, and I think Ed Clark, Benny Blades, Deion Sanders, Odell Haggins, they were all in that class together.
Mhm.
So,
All right. So what's your dad doing this weekend? Is he celebrating Coach Prime as well?
well, I don't know. I hadn't asked him about it. It was actually my uncle's birthday yesterday, so he's down in Miami. We couldn't make that. But I don't know. I got to call him and see what he thinks about it.
Okay, right.
But I will say one thing. He says everything that Deion gets at this point in life, he 100% earned. He was like one of those guys that had the talent, but also was working every day like a walk-on.
Yeah.
Trying to earn it.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, it is completely earned.
Love it. Love it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into things as soon as we can technically make sure we match up to you. We want to let you know that what's going on these calls is 1000% up to you. We just have some jumping off points that we can help you with here. For the last couple of weeks, we try to make sure that you guys understand we're doing this process and we can answer your questions. As we do so much social media, some of it is one-way styled communication, meaning that people on TikTok and Instagram can't always get us the and you disappeared. Give it 1 second.
I'm not in the group.
Well, it'll come back.
Oh, strange.
They can't always give us the tonality of their questions. They can't always give us the context. So that's what we can do on these calls. So let us know now in the next. Marcus, you're in Belgium? Okay, I'm taking a look at that for the first time. Okay.
Yes, I'm in Belgium.
Say it again.
Yes, I'm in Belgium. My wife lives out here. I'm out visiting for a while.
Okay. Love to see it. Love to see it. Put us in the chat, or right now we have a respectful small group of people, so I think it would be fine if you had to yell it out, or if it was safer for you. I always want to kind of make that disclaimer, not because you guys are stupid, but in the world we live in, half of us are in the car for the first 10 minutes of every Zoom we take. So if it's better for you to put it in the chat, please do, but yell it out. Do you have a infinite banking policy? Are you already practicing the process of infinite banking, what we like to call the save and spend system? If you've seen us with a 3-cup setup, that's kind of the setup of the product, and we'd like to know that. Put that in the chat for us. Do you have an infinite banking policy? I might get into this depending on what you guys want to talk about and what Keith says. Yeah. I'm in underwriting now for my 9th policy.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, my 9th policy just started, gonna be on my wife. Hopefully I'll have another one on me before the year is over.
Did you say you had the slides? Having some technical.
Yeah, we have in technical. I do have the slides, so that's all right. That's all right.
I'm gonna stop the share.
Okay, yes. Tony has a policy. I believe Tony are you close to your 2nd policy? Let us know. Marion has a policy, 3 policy. Let's go. All right, Marion. We might even ask some questions. Yeah, exactly. I would like to just ask questions. Most people who start this process with us in the last few years are in like their first stages. Tony's not. He also has been at it for quite some time. I know that story. Staley, he has been at trying to get his first policy for some time. I'm gonna keep calling. That's gonna be part of Staley's story until the cows come home. We've been trying this year. But Staley Brandon is also in the agent training course that we have. Cool. So we've been working through getting him to that point for a couple of weeks, months really, and we're excited to have him on the team. Okay.
Hey, how's it going, Tiffany?
Welcome. Can you hear us? Well, Tiffany, welcome. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if I must, I will share some slides. Don't have them up right now. And I'll let Keith kind of take things over. But we do want to, you cannot minimize Zoom while, of course.
Okay. Well, let's see.
While recording. Hold on. I think it's inside a Google Doc. Oh, no. No, it's okay. No, it is. Oh, okay, we should be good. If I go here.
And then you can screen share and then hit screen share and then come back and hit present.
Okay. Okay, but we want to let you guys know that you can ask us anything. So go ahead and drop in the chat or even interrupt us. I think this is a great group for that. Interrupt us with your thoughts or questions. I'll say 1 or 2 more things that might catapult you into a question. We appreciate you being here, but sometimes you don't have that question like off the top of your head. So one of those questions might be, why in the world would this cat have 8, 9, 10 policies? because we
Right.
already said that. We got a new baby coming in his
Yep,
family.
new
Like,
baby.
oh, can we start policies on children, or
Yes, we can.
why would we do that, or something like that? That could be a topic for you.
Mhm.
Why in the world is it so hard to start a policy? It's Staley Brandon out there, right? It could be that one.
Yeah.
It could be all sorts of stuff like that. But you can ask us anything while we get this thing. There's no sound, right? No sound in your slides.
No,
Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you can probably see this now, I believe. Let me see if I can go.
Should be down at the bottom. Talking about for present.
Yeah, I don't normally use
yeah,
the
to the right,
slides.
to the right, that
This one? Cool. All right, so I'll do my best to monitor that chat here. If you put it in the chat, it might take us a couple minutes to get there, but we are not avoiding anything. We ain't scared of you, as
Right.
Bernie Mac would have said. So,
That is true.
or
Yeah,
if
we're in
you
there. I
keep
can-
it
I can be
going,
in the chat. Yeah.
we'll see
Keep
if.
the slides, yeah. Cool. Oh.
Okay, was there a blank slide, or is it just being slow?
No. I think there was a blank slide. I mean, are you
I'm gonna click
at the beginning?
once.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Okay,
That's
Keith,
it.
take it away.
All right, so again, welcome to our AMA today. Was looking forward to this. Glad you all were able to take time out of your busy schedules to come learn and better yourselves. This is not for us. This is for you all. So we want you to participate, ask questions. We want this to get those wheels turning in your head about the policies that you do have, the policies that you want to create in the future. This is for you. So this is your time to be selfish. If there's those things that you thought about that you didn't really think you could ask or whatever, this is a safe place. We will not judge you. There are no, well, I say there are no stupid questions.
There are always stupid questions.
There are stupid questions.
Right.
Don't ask.
I'm too sarcastic. I've
Yeah,
always
right.
thought that, even since third grade. There are always
It's like,
stupid
wait,
questions.
it's like I would hear that. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
I think I could probably argue
Right.
against that. But
Okay.
but so again, name's Keith Carter II. They call me the insurance engineer. We're gonna do a few things with the infinite banking concept. The topic of this is the infinite banking concept, explain the beginner's guide. So a lot of you on here, you've probably already been in the system and been learning different things about infinite banking. We just want to help solidify some of those foundational values for you. So first and foremost, what is it? We're going to talk about the what, the why, the how, why would I do it? What's in it for me? Everybody's favorite radio station, WIFM.
Yeah.
What's in it for me? That's what we're going to talk about. How do I do it? You're going to say, the nuts and the bolts. Everybody here is infinite banking all the time. All of them is getting more and more popular,
Yeah.
but no one actually knows what they're doing or how to do
Yeah.
it.
How do I do this?
Right.
Everybody
How do I
keeps
do it?
talking about it. What do I
You
do?
hear people, oh, which insurance company should I talk to? It's
Yeah.
like they won't they can't write you a policy. You need a broker. You need a specialist, and we'll get into that. What will be different? Again, this just like JDew was saying, it's process. It is not a product, and the process itself is more important than the product. So there's a how. Things have to be different in your life. Your thinking has to change. Your habits have to change. The way you think about money and the way you interact with money has to change. But it's all for your better, and it's all for your good. And then also, what are some of the pros and cons? We're going to talk about some of the things that are perceived as pros, and we're talking about some of the things that are perceived as cons.
I like that,
And-
because so many people ask,
Yes.
well, there's got to be a give and a take. There's
Right.
got to be an up and a down.
Right.
And so they want to know these questions.
And they're misconceived. I will say they are misconceived because a lot of the things that people may see as cons are being wrongly positioned. They are not understanding them properly. It's one of those things, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's one of those things that's, I know when we first learned about it, it was, first off, why have I never heard of this before, right? Who's been keeping the secrets from
Oh
me?
yeah, for sure.
And then second off is like, how can it be that good? Really, when's the shoe?
Well,
gonna
yeah,
drop,
where are
right?
the holes in the system? Because if
I
I
know.
do what they're telling me to do, and these products work this way,
whole life.
yeah,
That's
like
where the hole is.
if it won't it always be good, and
Yeah.
that can't be right.
Right.
Right. It will always be better. That can't be right.
It can't be right. It can't
Right.
be right. So
Yeah.
so that's what we'll dive into a little bit of that, and let's go ahead and hop into it. So what is it? It is a concept, right? If you called up your average everyday Jake from State Farm and said, hey, I want one of those IBC policies, he will not know what you're talking about. Right? This is not an off-the-shelf thing that you can go out and buy from your buy a quote online, insurance person, right? It's not something that you can get the quote on in 2 minutes or less. Can you close out a 401k? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
No
too.
questions yet. All right, Staley. So can you close out a 401k and roll it into an infinite banking policy and avoid penalties? No. So, well, no with an asterisk. Okay. So no, because a infinite banking policy is not a qualified plan. So it's not like you can roll it over and avoid those taxable events, like you would a 401k to like an IRA or something like that. There would still be a taxable event. Now, if you were to now again, do your own homework. We will not tell you to do it either way. We would say do your own homework and figure out what is best for you and what you're doing. But yes, you can close your 401k and use those funds to start policies. But again, that is something that you need to make a decision. You need to weigh the pros and the cons for yourself and figure out what you're looking for, what your goals are, what your needs are. But yeah, so that's up to you. Me personally, I've done that before in the past, for a lot of different reasons. And I think I helped start my second policy.
Okay.
And that second policy was almost over two times the size, 2.5 times the size of my first policy. And I was able to fund that up with some of those things. And again, the reason I think that's important is because you got to get your dollars working for you. All your dollars need to pass a toll booth in your financial system. And that toll booth in my financial system is my infinite banking policy. I'll talk about the monopoly.
Yes, I love it. But before we do that, we're going to lose Tony in a few minutes. So I'd love to know. Tony said that's what I did. Tony, will you come on if you're able and just give us your starting point? Did you utilize a qualified plan to start an infinite banking policy? If you're able to talk to us, I'd love to hear that 1-minute version of that story, just so we understand.
Yeah. So my second one actually is what I'm getting ready to start that one on. So I had it was like $25,000, something like that, inside of my 401k that literally had been like sitting there from previous jobs. So I actually forgot about it for a while. And then I realized, okay, hey, like I forgot this money was even sitting in here, number one. And number two, it made sense if I was going to start this larger infinite banking policy to go ahead and use the money that I already kind of forgot about initially.
Right. So that brings me to I'm gonna still ask you a question or two. Don't go nowhere here. But he said Keith mentioned money that's not working for you, and then you talked about it was forgotten about, right? Okay, so I think we can marry those two ideas, like the money's not working or the money's forgotten about. So here's the thing, you've got to make that move, and we'll go back to, I'm gonna make it a love triangle here and go back to Staley's point. Okay, Staley asked, what about penalties? So I'm looking at Tony Shavers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm assuming this young man is not 59 and a half years old. So help us understand, if you know, explain it to us in your words, Tony. What happens if you decide to move a qualified plan dollar into something unqualified, which is life insurance? So what happens?
Yeah, they calculated the taxes that I would be hit on that, and there was like a 10% like penalty on top of that. So looking at it, like, oh dang, like I'm taking this hit, but then I realized it just made sense to me to go ahead and take the hit and move on, because like I said, I forgot about it from.
Sure.
One way to frame that as well, it's a hit, but it was not going to be avoided, right? So
no matter what,
if you were to have kept that money in your 401k, you would have been taxed on it eventually, correct?
Right.
Now, if you can only fund life insurance with post-tax dollars, right? But now those dollars will grow, and the growth will never be taxed. The interest will never be taxed. The dividends will never be taxed. And then the death benefit will never be taxed. So it was something that was unavoidable, right? So you just get done now. so you can have the rest of your life to, you know, have those growth and access your money on a tax.
Now, let me put a little
basis.
asterisk on what
Mhm.
Keith just said here. Appreciate you, Tony.
Mhm.
Is we're not going to be taxed on these dollars as long as we keep the policy for our whole life.
True.
We'll even get
Yep.
specific about that. Now, you ain't gonna catch either of us actually surrendering policies,
Nope.
but you could have a taxable event, crazy enough, if you decided that this compound growth for the rest of your life was not something you wanted, and you actually surrendered the policy. But I don't think that's gonna be what anybody here does. That's why we're
We don't
learning.
teach
And,
it.
yeah,
We
I
don't
mean,
teach
I
that.
can't imagine doing it myself. So hopefully that answered your questions, Staley. So let me say in kind of the academic terms,
Mhm.
qualified plans, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, things like that.
Yeah.
Those are deferred tax. You go into business with the government and some sort of fund manager, and you say, when I get of age, then I'll pull these. They'll be taxed, or potentially Roth IRA, not taxed at that time. Hopefully we'll have some growth, right? That's
Mhm.
why you'd put the money in.
Right.
But then you can take the money out without the penalty. It'll be ordinary income at that time, but you cannot
Correct.
roll over, if I can use that term.
Yes.
We know that you cannot roll over qualified money into unqualified money, but you can roll over qualified money to qualified money,
Mhm.
or unqualified money to unqualified money. So if you
Correct.
have insurance policies out there you don't like, you don't want anymore, they're not built the way you think is efficient,
Mhm.
you can roll those over. I think rollover is a common term. It's not called that. It's called a 1035 exchange.
Yeah.
But I'm going to use the word rollover because I think we all understand what it means. And so unqualified to unqualified, that's insurance, annuities, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then qualified to qualified. So hopefully that's helpful. Yes or yes, everybody?
Yeah, it's Staley, I got you there. So he says he's doing it anyway, right? He just wants to make his money work for him. So again, we would teach is great. That's awesome. You got a lump sum, you want to use it for something. We would say, pass it through your policy first, then use the insurance company's money in the form of a policy loan and do whatever you're going to do.
Yes. So tell us about that toll.
That's the process
out here.
That's the toll booth. So
Yeah.
the toll booth, right? So, I mean, most people, let's say, I started working when I was probably 23. So let's say I retired at 63. Normal person we're on the phone with, anybody that we talk to, the average American. Let's say you made an average of $50,000 from age 23 to
60.
23 to 63.
Okay, let me get that.
That's about 2 mil. Might be
Okay,
close.
should be. So that's going to be 50
Times
times
40.
40. 2
2
mil.
mil, right?
2
So,
mil.
so that's $2 million. Now, most people at age 63 do not have every dollar that they ever earned in their policy or in their bank account at all, period, right? They don't have it. But what if you were able to capitalize and get each of those dollars that you ever made to pass through a toll booth that owes you 3 to 4% interest guaranteed plus dividends plus death benefit for the rest of your life? I talk about a Monopoly example. Everyone played Monopoly before?
Oh yeah, we've all gotten in a fight with a family member around Monopoly, even if we haven't played it.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
Monopoly goes so fast once you start buying properties and everybody just gets out. It's
Right,
crazy.
right.
But yeah, so Monopoly. So I want you to think of the Monopoly board as your policy, right? And all you need to do is get dollars into the game. That's all you need to do. And every time you pass go, what happens?
You get $200.
Get $200.
Let's go.
But in this, your financial foundation, this policy, it's your Monopoly board right now, that $200 is interest, dividends.
But it's not just interest, it's compounded.
Yeah, my bad. Compound interest, dividends, death benefit, and liquidity, higher amounts of liquidity. Now, if I told you that every dollar that you get to pass go would get all those benefits attached to it every single time, whether the market's going up, whether the market's going down, whether houses are going up, whether houses are going down, all that kind of stuff is happening regardless, whether I'm awake or I'm asleep. If I told you that every dollar that you pass, that you get to pass go does that, how many of your dollars would you try to get to pass go?
The question that I always wonder, Keith, is when I'm talking to people, especially when they're trolling me on places like where me and Staley Brandon met, TikTok,
Okay.
is when people try to tell me a number that's not 100%. And I ask them, to your question,
Yeah.
well, what did you do with the rest of the money?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. right?
Interesting.
So how many dollars would you try to get to go in there? Well, I'm wondering, what are you going to do with the dollars
Yeah,
you say
'cause if
not?
if
Like, what are you
found
doing
something
with them?
better, we're open.
I
Tell
100%. I'm
tell
in.
us, like,
I am so in.
if you found something better, let us know.
Be
'Cause-
ready.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
exactly.
get the money in whatever you're talking about.
Right,
Right.
because another thing about it is like, we say better, but if you found something that's so good, do both. Do both. And I think that's really a mental block that we come up against a lot when we're explaining this to people is they're thinking in the this or that mentality.
Right. Well, and that's why you've got right here in your first bullet point. It's a concept. It starts with the way you think.
It is.
And if you think well and you understand the product, then the
Mhm.
process becomes the ideal and asset.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Both and no matter what you're doing.
100%. So, okay, so let's get into that a little bit. So it's a concept, that is an idea, that is a thought. You can't, it's not a product, it's not something on the shelf that you can buy. This is something that you execute with a product, but the product, there's the value is not in the product. We were just at a conference the other day, and I think it said about 80% of the policies didn't have any policy loans out and weren't using them or something like that.
I may have missed that.
Was
Right.
one of the carriers.
Okay, right.
Crazy. And
80% of people. So this is a mutual insurance company. You guys understand that that's the type of partner we're utilizing.
Yeah, it was a large amount.
Okay. And they've got these are people and individuals who own policies. 80% of the liquidity available, as we say, cup number 2, cash values, unused.
Yeah, because we were able to see their liabilities and their assets, and a policy loan to the insurance company is an asset. Because we now owe them interest. So we were able to see their assets, and you see the chunk that said policy loans. It was huge.
I don't even remember seeing it. I'm taking notes, taking pictures, all the slides.
Yeah, it's in the pictures. It's in the
Right.
picture. So I had to had someone called it out to me when I was looking at it the other day. So not a lot of people, all these people have the right product. They have a product that they can do infinite banking with, but they don't understand the process. They don't know. So that's why we're trying to get you guys in a position of knowledge where you can know. Right.
All right. So one of the ways we're going to do that is I'm going to just throw in a plug here and jump in the chat with our Facebook group. We've got a Facebook community that we've just started. I think one of the top posts right there right now is me talking through how I just took a loan. All right, Tony, get in there. How I just took a loan last week. What I took a loan for, something that may be considered a regular bill liability at the house, something we need, and I'm going to monetize that, utilize it as an asset, gain money in my policy, and I got it right there. So click there, jump in.
Process.
Okay,
go ahead. Process right there, implementing it in your daily basis. What is banking? What he's doing right now, that is banking. Everyone is doing banking and involved in banking at some level. Most of us are on the wrong side of that equation, where we're constantly paying the interest and we're never earning the interest. What we are teaching you to do is to use an insurance policy of all things. Why does it have to be insurance? Just we haven't found a more efficient way to do this. I've heard the idea of velocity banking with HELOCs and banking with different types of credit instruments. Yes, it's possible. Is it as beneficial? No, because that loan, that HELOC, is not attached to interest. It's not attached to dividends. It's not a compound interest. It's not attached to dividends. It's not attached to a death benefit that can be untaxable. Obviously, if you keep it in place and don't make your policy, it's a whole another different conversation. So that's what it's for. So a couple of things. Becoming your own banker. If you haven't read this book, we highly advise you to read this book. Yeah. See if we got it. Perfect. Yep. So if you have not read this book by R. Nelson Nash, I think this is the 5th edition. If you have not read this book, please do. It's about $19, $20 on Amazon. I think there's some links on our website to get that. But yeah, so this is probably the OG document on this topic. One of the first people to really kind of bring this.
He's the one who named it the infinite banking concept. Now, infinite banking is a pretty widespread term now. It's bastardized left and right. The infinite banking came from Nelson.
Right.
And so other people were utilizing policy loans for sure, but they didn't coin the phraseology term. They didn't do it as a holistically kind of educational approach for the common man. So that's where it comes from. So, go straight to the source.
Yeah, so the process is not new. Like a lot of the policies, the companies that we work with that provide these specific types of policies have been in business 100, 140,
150
200
years.
years.
150 years,
So
yeah.
it's not new at all. We're not inventing anything. We are not making anything up. We are not teaching you anything that is not proven with at least a decade of results.
A century.
Yeah, I mean, my
Century
bad,
of
at least a
results.
century. My bad,
Century
at
of
least a
results,
century
yeah.
of results.
Century. Yeah.
Century, long time, 100 years plus, 140, 150, 200, some of these companies.
All right.
So yeah, so that's important. We want you to get that opportunity and ability to take control. Maybe we can go to the next.
Okay,
one.
here we go. And remember, we're taking questions anytime. You can interrupt us or you can put something in the chat. How many of you, let me just ask a question here. You can respond in the chat. Let me think of something based on what he said. Here's something really crazy, and I'm starting to explore this on some of the other live events that I do, talking to people who are brand new outside of infinite banking. Keith just listed several different benefits attached to interest.
Should I be?
No. I'm just used to that. I'm an MC out here.
Yeah,
That's all.
right. Yeah.
And every time I'm in here in the studio, but you guys are just hearing me on the computer today. Okay, here's my question for you. Here's something interesting. I want to know what you've got as the answer to this question. Outside of a policy that has guarantees, meaning, and what I mean by that is your money doesn't go down or go backward. There's no risk.
Yeah.
There's growth. Not only do you not go backward, there is growth. There are dividends. There is a death benefit. There's liquidity, and there's income tax free use of the money. What is the next best place to put your money? Because I can't think of anything.
After one of these?
After this, what would you say? I'm not going to let Keith answer. What would you say? What would be the next best place? Because everybody out there, you know this, Keith, when they're first hearing this information, they want to compare interest rate, growth rate.
Right.
But I'm saying, did you not hear me list off the other 5 or so things that we got? Yeah, did you miss it?
Yeah.
Because if you can match up those about 4, 5, 6 different benefits, then we'll just decide on which one is the better interest rate. Because if you got all of them, I was like, well, whichever one's the highest interest rate, I'll go for it.
That's what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
I'll be in.
But
What do you
a
have?
lot of them don't have those other.
They don't have
so-
them. That's what I'm saying. So
let's
in
say-
your opinion, this is
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
right or wrong thing. We're
Yeah.
not going to make fun of you. I'm the mean one. Keith is a lot nicer. But what would you say is the next best place to store capital, or what is the number one place you used to, or you're used to storing capital outside of a policy? Because of these things, you're starting to realize, or you have, well, I mean, the policy is obviously the legit place, the ideal place for this asset. However, what's the next best place?
Annuities. We talk about that.
All right,
Real estate.
but go ahead, keep going while they think about it. Go
Okay, no,
ahead.
we got
Yeah.
we got a couple answers now.
Well, we'll
Okay,
come
all
back
right,
to
yeah,
it.
we'll come
Come
back-
back
we'll
to
come
it.
back to
Think
this.
about it. Just what would
So,
you
yeah.
say? Just give us
So-
a thought. Yeah.
Why would I do it? What's in it for me? All right. That's a lot of time what we get. Why would I do this? That sounds weird. Why would I put money in insurance? I don't understand that. Sounds weird. Cool. It's fine. Let's talk about it. Why is it weird? Certainty and guarantees. Insurance companies are built a certain way where they have to be very, very risk averse. And they do this with how they invest. They do this with the partners and clients that they take on for a lot of different reasons. Let's talk about underwriting, for example. Let's say underwriting, financial underwriting. If you're going to a bank, you got to get a loan. Financial underwriting, let me look at your credit score. Let me look at some of your other loans out. If you know enough people, they might not look at any of that stuff, right? That's kind of how banks go around their
If you
financial-
never had a credit card like JDew until
yeah.
last November,
right?
you don't pass anything.
Yeah,
I just never, you guys ready for that? Yeah, I don't think you're ready for that, because I've been teaching you guys for a little bit longer than some of you since last November. If you never had a credit card,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
and you don't have
It's tricky.
you don't have a car loan, you don't have a lease that your name is on,
It's a risky person. We don't know anything about
Yeah.
them. We can't find
then
anything
how in
about
the
them.
world do
Yeah,
they look?
They can't.
Yeah, I know that's
They
rare.
can't.
I know that's not you guys. Y'all out there with bad credit. All right.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
who it is, Staley. Who
Oh,
is it,
goodness.
Marion? I don't know. However, what if they can't find you
Mhm.
on any paperwork like
They
me
can't.
till
They
November?
can't.
Till November.
Right. So and in how stringent the banks are with their underwriting can fluctuate with the market. Now, we saw that in 2008, 2009. Underwriting was very lax, and you saw a lot of loans being given out that people couldn't pay for. They didn't care. The mortgage underwriters are making money hand and foot. And then the banks were making a lot of money, didn't care. But that came to bite them in the butt. Now, something like that would not really be possible with an insurance company because of the type of underwriting they do. You can fudge your financial underwriting quite a bit with a lot of different reasons. And you can create leniency and you can create privilege in a lot of different ways. Insurance, the underwriting is based on health. You can't really fudge your health. Your medical records are your medical records, and that's what allows them to be one of the many ways they are risk averse with who they accept, because they understand, especially when it's a whole life contract, they are on the hook for everything they agreed to in that contract. As soon as that document is signed and you make that first payment, it is a unilateral agreement where they are far more involved with the carrying out of that contract than you are. All you need to do is make your payment. They have to do all the other stuff. So if they're bringing on somebody for $350,000
Right.
or $500 a month, and they're on the hook for that, they want to make sure that you're healthy. They're giving you this policy because they think you might be around for a while, so they don't have to pay it out tomorrow. Let's talk about term insurance for a little bit.
Okay.
Term insurance, term insurance is cheap. One of the cons we'll get to in a little bit, people talk about, oh, it's more expensive than other insurance. And again, just like when you isolate this by its interest rate, you're looking at the wrong thing. There's a big picture and you're kind of zooming in on this small picture. If you're just looking at the death benefit, yeah, you can get more death benefit for cheaper, but can you get everything else that goes along with it? But again,
and of course, it's guaranteed. You got to remember that. And there's a lot of
guaranteed.
people, Keith, who we saw at like that annual meeting for financial advisors,
Yep.
And insurance people who love the guarantees of whole life,
Mhm.
who love to argue
Yeah.
that whole life insurance actually is cheaper because of
Yes.
the longevity, and
I
it
agree.
doesn't expire.
I agree.
So
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I want you to come. If we get to it, I want to come back to that.
Okay,
If we
okay,
get to it.
but now I asked a question and we got several answers out there. Now, hey, Tony, if you had to jump, man, appreciate you being here. I think you did already, but love it. And Tony, I think we're gonna see him commenting and being a part of that Facebook community. So click that link if you didn't already. If you're on Facebook, we'd love to have you express things there. Marion, if you're able, we are 10 minutes away. We'd love to hear a little bit of your story and how you got started. Okay, I'm going to go and then Keith's going to talk a little bit. So I asked the question, what is the second best place? We're going to assume we're here with the choir on a Sunday afternoon, preaching to the choir, and you guys are starting to understand or very, very convinced that whole life insurance is the best place to park dollars for the save and spend system. If you save them there's guarantees, there's growth, there's a death benefit, there's tax advantages, or income tax deferred in perpetuity, all that type of stuff, liquidity, all that type of stuff. So let's talk about a couple of these here. We got annuities. We've got, is that the first one? Yep. Annuities, Marion said. Second best place, maybe. Rodney says rental real estate. Staley Brandon says a CD. Marion came back with a high interest savings. Marcus says S&P 500. That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opinions there. So let me have you comment on one or two of those, Keith.
Okay.
What would you say is there? What is missing from any one of these, or what do you like? And how does it compare?
I think we actually have a slide on that too.
Love it.
Yeah, if you want to go to hop ahead a couple.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that slide. I don't want to show you all everything. So
next one. Boom.
Love it. Okay, we're gonna put a little something up while Keith kind of comments on
so
what you like, what you used to do, what you think is second best, or maybe even where you put money after you take cash value loans. All of that is fine. We are here to just comment on those things.
So when someone says annuities, I normally answer that with a question. It's like, why do you like annuities? Because often they like annuities because, I can get a certain percentage every year, or it's as an income annuity. It's like, if I get this annuity, then it'll pay me out a certain amount every year, and it has a growth element attached to it. And those are all good things. You can have annuities and have your whole life policy. I am not against annuities in certain situations, but if you're going to take money out of your policy to buy an annuity, why don't you just overfund your policy and keep putting money there? Because you're going to have interest attached to it. And if you want to take it out and invest anywhere else and buy an annuity, you can do that. No one's keeping you from that. So it's
an either or in the annuity world, but it's a both and still.
It's a both
and.
and.
Okay, go to the next one then.
Right.
Appreciate that.
Rental
but
real estate.
Give us rental real estate. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah. So
I like rental real estate. You like rental real estate.
I'm all
So let's
for
talk
that.
about that
So
one.
I actually used a policy loan to put a down payment on a duplex back in 2018 that I house hacked. I lived in one side, rented the other side, got married, moved out, turned the other side into Airbnb, and then sold it this year because the market's crazy and I already had another house to live in, so I didn't have to go try to buy, another house, and we were able to use that capital for a whole lot of things. Which I paid back a bunch of policy loans.
Yep.
Yeah, I overfunded my policy up through the next year. Paid out all the PUAs that I could. I'm a big fan. I think if you have the ability and you are learned and you're coaching yourself up and you want to step your toe in the water, take some policy, take some cash value, go get you a down payment, run the numbers, make sure it makes sense for you, and get into rental real estate. I think it's great. I have no qualms about
Now,
that.
obviously, rental real estate could potentially lock up your money for a time.
It can lock up your money.
Could.
So that's one thing. So
Yep.
So we're going to talk about if we want to talk about the cons of rental real estate, it's like, yes, depending if you're managing it yourself, it could take your time. It may
there's risk.
There's risk with your tenant. There's risk with things breaking. And all that kind of stuff.
And of course, it does not give you a death benefit.
No death benefit.
Right.
No death benefit.
Right.
So,
You can sell it though. That's a pro.
You
But
can sell it.
there's no death benefit.
You can get there. I mean, pros. You can get cash flow. You can get tax. Preferential tax treatment because you own it.
Yeah.
You can create deductions with your property, especially if it's a rental. So there's quite a few pros and cons.
And so we'll just say now, Keith obviously admitted that he's been in the game of utilizing policy loans first, running his dollars through his monopoly board, and then getting into real estate for it. So I'm gonna give you a little bit here as well to make sure you understand. I like real estate as well.
Yeah.
We love to take our policy loans and give it to people for like him. Like I can't swing a hammer out here, but I like to get into the game with other people who potentially can have a pretty controlled environment because they're professionals and then have good rates of return on that.
Correct.
Potentially a lot quicker than long holds like S&P, for instance. That's normally a long hold game.
Yeah. So
for people.
JDew, he's talking about private money lending. Well, they would typically have to go to a bank or a financing institution to get that type of short-term gap funding for deals like that. But if you already have a network of people that have cash value sitting around and looking for opportunities, they're like, hey, if I can get 10, 15, 50, 100, whatever, and we can get you 15% in 3 months, 4 months. We're like, hey, yeah, we got cash value sitting around. Let's do that. But again, if you don't have capital, cash value sitting around, those opportunities they don't matter because you can't really get into them. So again, let's say you have that 401k that's got $200,000 in it or whatnot, but it's not very liquid, and you got to take all these fees and these penalties to try to do a deal like that. Whereas in your infinite banking policy, you can go in online and say, hey, I want to take out a policy loan of this, or you make a phone call. I normally make a phone call. Or do it online. I've been doing a little bit.
I'm a phone call guy too.
Yeah, I usually do.
My brother, he's sending the paper guy. I'm a phone call guy.
No, I mean their online portal is pretty good now. So, but yeah, I've been using that a lot
better.
more. Yeah, it's getting better. I will say.
Okay, so Staley Brandon, we brought up a jargon term here. We brought something up that's inside baseball information. Okay, so we're gonna explain that. That's what the AMAs are for.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so overfund. What is it? What does it mean? It sounds great. I think that word has been permeating all of Staley Brandon's world in this, but you didn't know it was already there. So we got to break it down. It's always been there. Keith's going to tell you where it's been hiding. We just use the word for maybe the first time.
Yeah. So that word, that term describes obviously it's very close to what it sounds like. It is funding over the base amount in your policy. Now, all policies, as long as they're designed a certain way, will have room to be funded above what your initial, monthly payment or yearly payment is that you agreed to. The way we design policies is two ways. Again, we consider ourselves fundamentalists when it comes to infinite banking, IBC, if you will. One reason that we always push, people learning and reading our Nelson Nash's book is we want you to be able to trust us but we don't want you to need to trust us. We want you to know for yourself. So you can understand when you hear things out online and you hear things from people saying things different ways, that you can know for yourself, like, nah, that doesn't sound right. So overfunding, your premium is made up of two parts. You've got your base and you've got your PUA. Your PUA stands for paid up additions. Now, typically we'll design those with a certain split, depending on a lot of different situations, but we have a model that we use that we know works very well. And I say 90% of the policies come out that way. So you are able to fund, depending on the company, there's a multiple of your base that you can fund. So let's do some quick math. Let's say it's $10,000, and let's say it's a 40% base, 60% PUA. One company we work with, they will allow you to fund 3 times your base at any time, no matter what. In the first year, it's a lot higher, but any time down the road, you can do 3 times your base. So if your base is 4,000, you can do 12,000 total into your policy. So that's more than the 10,000 you originally were able to put in, and you can do that extra now. So that extra $2,000, that would be the overfunded amount. Again, there's some wiggle room in that. And normally what I do, like what I did this year when we had that lump sum from selling the property, I called and I asked, how much room do I have in my policy for this year?
For the overfunding.
For the overfunding.
Making sense, Staley?
I was already making my premiums.
And the reason we're going to do this is a reminder, every dollar that we do get inside, if you've seen our model with the 3-cup setup, every dollar we pay in premium that we get inside that game compounds and grows, as I like to say, is guaranteed to grow in cash flow.
Right.
And that's cup 1, cup 3, and cup 2, guaranteed to grow in cash flow forever. So we want to get as much money in there yesterday as possible, because it never stops compounding and being liquid for us in new cash value numbers. So we want to get in extra dollars inside this type of contract. So those dollars are going to be available for us to utilize as cash value. Does this make sense?
So
go ahead.
That's the infinity. The infinite.
Well, no, so Staley Brandon, let me back up and let me repeat one thing that I think might be helpful. I always want to frame it in the way that I want to frame it, but that may not be the way you need it. We were already overfunding the policies. The way you asked the question made you think that we weren't. Already. When you give us a number, we're already overfunding the policy.
PUA is overfunded.
PUA, your paid up additions, is an overfunded amount that you don't have to put in. But it's not going to allow us. Say it again.
Traditional whole life.
So yes. So let's go to Jake at State Farm, shall we?
Yeah.
Up until this point, if you ever wanted to buy whole life insurance from the regular guy off the street, Flo at Pro or Jake at State, Flo at Progressive, depending on what channels you watch on TV, or Jake at State, depending on if you watch the NBA, right? If you watch, okay,
you be courtside.
There you go, right? So if you go to a regular traditional place to buy insurance, what are we buying? A death benefit. We're trying to buy a policy. We're trying to buy something that we care enough for our family after us. No PUAs, no overfund.
So I spent a lot of time in the field working with individuals that may have already had different types of whole life policies, and what they typically look like if you get a whole life policy off the street or from a call-in ad or from some random person that showed up and asked you and said they wanted to sell you burial insurance. What you're going to get is a death benefit and a monthly premium. Now your monthly premium won't change, and your death benefit also doesn't change. So one thing about the policies that we create, every time you make a premium payment, and then your death benefit goes up. Every time you get dividends, your death benefit goes up. Every time you get interest credited, your death benefit goes up, all at the same time. But those type policies that are base only, you could not add PUAs to those policies if you wanted to. That is base. So the way we design policy, it has base and PUA together already. So from day one, it is overfunded. That's how we design them. That's how they need to be designed it for infinite banking. I've seen policies where they didn't have cash value for 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
You know?
So is this making a little bit more sense? We're already putting in that overfunding option, and that is a rider. Paid up additions is a rider on top of your base contract that allows these other 2 cups, cup 2 and 3, to rise every time we put money in. not just death benefit, even though that's awesome. When we're likely to die down the road sometime, the number is going to be way bigger for our family, friends, church, and charity than it was when we started.
Yep.
But cash value, cup number 2, is how much of that money is always available as we go throughout our life. It's more and more and more of that future benefit is present today if we ever call and ask for it.
Right. That's it.
All right,
And
great.
I guess what I was thinking, and I did realize that about the PUA. We had that at one of the companies I first started working for, but no one ever got it. No one ever sold it. And I was like, I think we should do this. I was like, is it me or what am I?
That's why Staley Brandon is here. See, it wasn't found people, find people. He was looking. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. He already knew. He looked at it and said, hold on, why wouldn't we want to maybe put some money in here? Now you know.
Nobody wanted, I mean, managers, guys who were on the 13th floor of the building. No, we don't want no PUA. I'm like, but I mean, isn't this good for the client? Yeah,
it is good for the client. And okay, so let's talk about that. Let's get into it. Let's let you behind the veil. Okay, let's let you behind the curtain. Agents don't like PUA because, to be honest, we don't really get paid on PUA at all. We don't. That's not something. If an agent is trying to sell you just base, it is worse for you and better for them. Our policies are at least 60% PUA.
So now let me explain that in the 3-cup setup, if this is helpful. Those of you who've seen the 3-cup setup are going to understand this in about 1 minute. Premium red cup is where we put our dollars in. It buys us death benefit, cup 3, right? If we give the insurance company dollars, then they owe us one day a bunch of death benefit. And by us, it's probably your kids. Okay. Cup 2 is how much of that we bought, cup 3, is available today. So let's go to the grocery store as little kids and talk about this as cup 1, what we pay for something, cup 3, what we bought, cup 2 is change. Well, the guy who sells stuff cannot get commission if he gave you all the change back.
Yeah.
You like that? You like that? If you buy something and what it cost is what it cost in cup 1, and then you buy something cup 3 and they give you a bunch of change, well, he can't have any commission because he gave you the change.
Right. So your PUA is highly liquid.
Highly liquid. So
the insurance carrier doesn't use or keep.
So the insurance company can't keep it because they gave it to you back. The insurance agent can't get it or get commission off it because it's liquid for you. Right. It's the change. It's the overpayment. So if I buy something for $15 and I hand the cashier 20, they give me 5 back. Well, they cannot make money off of the 5 they handed me back.
Correct.
I think that's potentially a really helpful way to look at it. Yes. Anybody?
I'm going to hear it again.
Okay, no problem. All right. Well, if I had the 3 cups, I think it might be helpful. But
that's good though.
Yeah.
If it's not there, your PUA is a very highly liquid. Again, I was telling you about me seeing some of these policies in the field that were only base and they didn't have cash value for 10 years. Your PUA is what allows you to have cash value month 1, right? So if you don't have that, your policy is very, very bare bones and impossible to use in the infinite banking concept. So that's why we stress that you got to have PUAs. But if someone is in I don't know what group or company or agency you're a part of, they're not concerned about selling it because they're not trying to create bankers. They're not trying to create people that are independent. They're trying to make a check. Now, obviously, this isn't charity. We want to do that.
Yeah, there's insurance. There's nothing wrong with getting people covered and secure, but it's just not good for banking.
What we do, but it's horrible for banking, and we want you guys to be in a great place, and that's why we do it the way we do it, because we understand it's one of the best ways to do it.
There you go.
So,
all right, we wanted to. Well, this was kind of, really is. This was kind of based on our question to you guys and some of the other traditional places where people park their money or invest their money. So I wanted you guys to see it. But I'm gonna let Keith keep talking here. And when I come back, I'm gonna step out for just a second. You can comment on this, or you can go back and forth right here and toggle. I'm just gonna use the bathroom.
Yeah, you got it.
I want to have Marion, and Marion, if you're still out there, we want to hear your story too, but I don't want to miss it. So
yes, Marion, briefly. Oh, when you get back?
Yeah, when I get back.
All right, when he gets back, we'll ask Marion about your 3 policies, which is awesome. I've got 3 policies in my household as well, 2 on myself, one with my wife, and we are expecting in October, and she will have hers within a few months. So baby Elaine Carter on the way. So can everybody see the slide pretty good? Yeah, give me some nods, Mr. Staley. Yep, gotcha, cool. So we had a couple of things that we talked about. Real estate, we mentioned. Is it 100% principal protection? No, prices can go up, prices can go down. If something breaks, it's on you. If a tenant, wants to sue you for some craziness, that's on you. Is there guaranteed growth? No, we don't know that it's going to grow. Is it penalty-free withdrawals? Yeah, you can access like a HELOC or something penalty-free. It may cost you some interest, but that's it. Tax deferred growth. Depends on how much it costs, depends on your marriage status. But yeah, when you sell it, yeah, you'll get those gains. But as far as tax-free withdrawals, guaranteed interest, protection from creditors, disability benefits, risk-free, tax-free to heirs, no contributions limits. No, you don't have that. Let's see, what are the other ones? Stocks. I heard someone say S&P 500. Yeah, principal protection, no. Guaranteed growth, no. Penalty free before 59.5, yeah. But tax free growth, no. You got to sell them. Tax free withdrawals, guaranteed interest, no. There are no guarantees in the stock market. But again, we are not against investing. I want to be very clear. We have guys that invest in all kinds of things here. We're skilled in that. And we encourage everyone to invest in the things that you like and understand. Again, we want you to go seek that knowledge for yourself. We want you to build your banking system, be knowledgeable there, and then be able to move past that and take your banking and become the bank in other situations like JDew was talking about previously. Become the bank by, doing private money deals where you're the lender and not the borrower, and you're able to, go earn interest from helping somebody do something in their business. Charles McCall asked, how do you get started with this method? All right, if you're talking about infinite banking, how do you get started with this method is book a call. Get on a phone call with one of us and we'll talk to you. I'll talk to you and we'll actually just go through some of the questions that you may have, talk about what that would look like for you getting started, and you can work with our team and we can go ahead and get you in place. So another very important piece about doing this is you got to work with the right people. Again, we're fundamentalists when it comes to this, and we're also specialists. We don't sell every type of insurance. We do this.
Yep.
This is what we do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, I just dropped the link to get on Keith's calendar. So he's taking calls this week and helping people understand what it means to get started with infinite banking. But it is a free cash consultation here. We're going to rearrange that cash in your mind in that concept, and we'll get you going when you're ready. Okay, so go ahead and book a call no matter what. If you're already utilizing another coach in our community, me or anyone else, it might be a Robert, an Alyssa, a Jonah, a Jesse, you go ahead and go back to them.
Yes.
Okay, it makes it easier for all of us, and we don't have to restart the conversation over. So go back to whoever you've already had. If you don't have someone, you're introduced to this by a friend or family member who invited you, got this sneaky link, or you are watching a recording, ladies and gentlemen out there, go ahead and get Keith's calendar. Okay, it's going to be go.oncehub.com/Keith Carter. Okay, so go ahead and click that, and Keith will talk to you soon. He'll text you shortly after this.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
But yeah,
all right.
So can we get the chart and the email? Can
you
send that out to like the people that were on this call, or is that something we can do?
Yeah. So I mean, just yours.
No, I'm saying he was asking about the guarantees chart.
Oh, gotcha. Staley,
Staley?
he's already a part of the community. He's
so
gonna get to it soon.
Okay.
So in the agent training, it's in several pieces of paperwork. So just remind us. I've got a call with Staley again tomorrow, I believe.
Sweet.
So we'll make sure you get that.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Second is okay, we want to be conscious of your time.
Good.
So Marion might close us out. Marion, are you in a place where you can maybe tell us your story here and back us into how you got to the place where you were a serious person around the concept of utilizing this crazy whole life insurance product for banking, for cash. Come on, girl. You crazy. Who told you to do all?
Well, good afternoon. I'm Marion out of Georgia. And can you hear me okay?
No, we got you. Good, loud and clear. Go
yeah.
ahead.
All right. So I was trying to find a way to save on taxes. That was the biggest issue that my husband and I had. He's retired military after a 28-year career. And we were noticing that he was just doing some odd and end things that he wanted to do. And no matter what, I was still working a full-time job. The taxes were killing us. Okay. We had no dependents, no children, and it was like ridiculous. So started looking in it we got introduced to it from a network marketing company that we got involved in. And then there was a presentation about you must be crazy not to have some sort of business. But then they shared the information about the infinite banking. I bought the book, and this was in 2018. Of course, you read the book, you could read it every 3 to 6 months and still find something in it that you kind of, shucks, I've heard it, but I can't believe this will work like this. So in 2018, first policy was on my husband, and we just dropped, the money that we had obtained from doing the network marketing. So we said, let's drop that money into this policy. I didn't believe any of it. I really was just testing out the water. I did know that we had a death benefit, okay? But we were told within 15 days we could take a loan of half the amount. And I said, this is not gonna work. I know it's not. So we did it. Took it out, paid something off, put it back. Now, I think, Jonah, you were actually our mapper. We had some debt. We had a few bills, things that had some interest on them. And so that's where we started. We paid off that debt, and the map was to be for 5 years. We were actually able to get the debts taken care of within 2 years with the policy. We take the loan, pay the debt, put it back in there. We also, I was still working and had a 401k. And I kept asking, can I use this like a banking policy? Because I knew I had about 4 or 5 more years. I said, I could pay this loan off. So I pulled a loan out and used it like a banking policy. And that's where I kind of figured out how to manipulate how it worked. So then 6 months after the first policy on my husband, I took another infinite banking policy out on myself. And that one, as my husband says, if something should happen to him, we need to make sure I was covered. Well, I also want to make sure he's covered. Sure. But we started looking at cash. We say, we're not caring about the debt or the graduation money. We're talking about using money. Mm-hmm. So we were with the second policy, able to get solar panels for our home, paid that back. Then we got some efficiency things done in the roof, paid those loans back, paid my car off. So now we didn't have any debt. And I was like, oh, we extra funded our policies like 2 or 3 times. And then I took a third policy. Now, this was a stretch because I had a godchild that I wanted to leave something to, but then I thought the mom can take care of him, but what can I do? And we were able to do that. And I became the owner of the policy. So that's like smaller amounts, but it still allowed us to do quick things. Like if we wanted to go to Israel and Jordan, which we did, we just took that loan out, paid it off, put it back in there. So now we've accumulated, and I'm not afraid to say this, in 5 years, almost $90,000. And it's like crazy cash availability. Now we're like can place some real things of investing, like some of the short-term loans for people who are trying to, get into properties or things like that. But sure. I have been just 100% impressed. I loved math, but I had no idea how compounding interest utilizes the insurance company's money, paying it back, keeping it in there, and tax-free. You don't have to get a credit report. You don't have to get permission to get your money, and it comes to you so fast. I mean, within a couple of days, you got your money in the bank to do what you want, and they don't pressure you about paying it back. You decide to be the honest banker, pay it back, and put some extra on it. So that's how it's worked for us. And we started in 2018. I just talked to him about last week about possibly doing another policy because things are settled down. And even during this inflation and this period of turmoil in the country, it's been okay. It's been great.
Policies are still cranking.
Yeah,
right.
cash value's up. It's up for me too. Well,
Yeah,
Marion,
value's
thank
up.
you so much
That's awesome.
for sharing that. We don't want to keep you guys too much longer here.
Mhm.
If you have other questions, of course, we're fielding them right here. But in the
Right.
chat, I threw in once again our Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, we've got a new community, and I'm in there posting stuff right now. You can comment on a loan and a payback schedule that I just threw in there, and we can see how maybe regular stuff can be utilized to make profit on and around by recapturing those expenses. And then Keith's link is the last one. So if you don't already have a coach in our community, hit him up. If you don't need him, then hit back the person you got. But let us know if you have anything else. Charles, is that anything out there from you? I think you were
Yeah, you unmute. Want to say something?
think you were saying something out there.
No, I was going to say thank you for the link, and I definitely just set up a call for Coach Keith.
There we go.
Awesome.
All
Look
right.
forward
We'll
to
keep
talking with you,
texting
man.
you very soon. Okay, guys. Well, we appreciate you so much. We suggest you save your money. And
Thank you.
okay, that's what you should do out there.
Yeah.
We're cracking the code to cash flow here at the Cash Compound. So we're going to talk to you very soon about this infinite banking idea, and we appreciate you jumping on this. Let me give you, we're probably back in 2 weeks, 2 Sundays with you. We
yeah,
think?
I'm gonna have to check the schedule.
Okay,
but
we
yeah.
think
Yeah,
2
yeah,
Sundays
2
from
Sundays.
now, that's when Keith does his coaching sessions live on Zoom. We might be able to add soon doing it live simulcast, a little Facebook, a little TikTok, a little Instagram, or whatever.
Yeah, we figured it out.
However, 2 Sundays from now, every Thursday at 4 p.m., I'm sorry, 3:30 Eastern, 3:30 Eastern, we have a different coach. It's not Keith.
Jesse.
If you like Keith, we'll see you here for Keith on Sunday. But we'll talk to you guys again very soon, so we can get your money cash flowing and growing.
Most
All
definitely.
right, peace,
Yeah, y'all
everybody.
Good one. Have a good Sunday. Be blessed.